All right. So here we have a description about adult learners, right? Now I'm gonna ask a volunteer for reading this part. Let me see. Eileen, Eileen Ramos, would you mind helping me with the reading?
Yes.
Okay.
So, adult learning's descriptions. Adults and children think, speak, and behave differently. That is why the teacher's attitude towards adults is different, and they themselves are also treated differently. Usually, adults are defined as learners who are characterized by a complete intellectual and social maturity.
Okay. Thank you very much, Eileen. Beautiful pronunciation. Um, okay. Somebody has the microphone on. Okay, there you go. So yeah, now we were discussing this part, right? Adults and children think, speak, and behave differently, right? Huh? They think, speak, and behave differently. That is why the teacher's attitude towards adults is different, and they themselves are also treated differently. Now, when teaching young adults or adults, your way of teaching should change. You know what I mean? You know, probably if you have had the experience of working, or if you are actually working for a private school or something, you probably are aware about the changes, you know, of scenario that we have. Uh, in this semester, guys, you are working in higher education, okay? You're working in higher education. So when you're planning a lesson, you have to think about your audience, okay? That doesn't mean that you're not bringing pictures. That doesn't mean that you're not bringing dynamic activities, okay? But it means that you have to think that the audience or your students are going to be young adults or adults, you know. So knowing this, you have to plan your activities carefully, because some adults, some of them, they are aware of their learning process, you know. So they don't really need you to go and to treat them like children, you know. And some of them are adults, but they behave like children. So you need to make a balance. I don't know if I'm being clear or not. You have to learn and study them. As soon as you talk to somebody or to a group, then you can realize what kind of group it is, if they participate, if they don't participate. But one of the things or the techniques that I would like to share with you, and that they have been very well, it has been very useful for me, is to talk to people. You know what I mean? Like to be humble and to try to get to know them, you know, with very common questions like, hello, how are you? Like, hey, what do you do for a living? Ah, okay. And then listening to people, you know. One of the skills that teachers should have is active listening. So instead of just spending the class talking, just to stop a moment and listen. Listen and listen, okay? Listen to your students, listen to all the things that are going on, and use those things that you observe into your class, okay? Into your class. For example, if you know that a group is talking about soccer, then uh, talk about soccer. Let them talk about soccer. I mean, if they're doing it in English, you can just, okay, well, you know, okay, you're talking about soccer in Spanish, right? Okay, now I want you to talk about soccer, but do it in English. And how about this? Okay, who is the best soccer player in the world? And they're going to start discussing, you know. So since you identified their likes, you know, since you identified their likes, then you have a good start. You know what I mean? So when teaching adults, you have to study them. You know, you have to make reflection, and don't worry about the first class. Not all the first classes go well. So you're probably gonna have ups and downs, and that's normal. Okay, so don't worry about it. Just try to do your best. And I'm telling you this because next term you're starting with students from the university. You know, you're probably gonna be working with basic English. You're probably gonna be working with intermediate levels. You're probably gonna be with translation and interpretation. You're probably gonna be with English for call center, stuff like that. So that's why it's important to think about the background, the scenario, and also, you know, the type of students that you're gonna have. So the first lesson, I recommend you to start thinking about this, right? Adults and young adults are different, okay? They're totally different. And then you have to learn how to deal with them, okay? Any questions so far or something you want to add? Somebody that have taught a class before, any experience you want to share? No? All right. So we'll continue then. All right. Okay. Jalmar, would you mind helping me with this, the reading?
Sure.
Okay.
The biggest difference between adults and younger learners. Adults come to the class with great learning experience. Usually, they have gone through many years of education and then may have studied at a higher level.
Okay. So think about this, right? When you have a group of young adults or adults, I mean, some of them have had English before. You know, in El Salvador's program, study program, we study English from seventh grade until second or third year, I guess, of high school. You know, so imagine seventh grade, 5 years, 5 years learning English. Man, I'm wondering why we are not bilingual. I mean, bilingual. If we have, you know, many classes, 5 years, it's almost a bachelor's degree in English, you know. But I know that, you know, the problems in national education. I'm aware about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah, I really feel bad about it. But with this generation, we're changing that because I know that you guys are going to be great teachers. And we together are going to change this educational system, at least in English, you know, and why not in the whole thing, right? But yeah, I mean, if we work together, if we work hard, we're going to change this system. I'm pretty sure about it. Well, going back here, it says that adults, they already have experience, they already know things, and this is something totally different. You know, when you're teaching adults, you know, they know what they want most of the times. You know, with young adults, it's hard because you're gonna have behavior problems sometimes. In the university, for example, there is a big difference, and I hopefully you guys don't get mad at me, the ones that study during the week. But most of the time, people that study during the week, um, like I'm telling you this because I have taught basic English, intermediate, and most of the people during the week are young adults, and some of them they're not really interested in learning. I have had a lot of problems with students, and I've been chasing them, you know, hey, how about this homework? Hey, you know, do this homework and blah blah blah, right? At a university level, that shouldn't be happening. You know what I mean? because when you are in university, you're supposed to know what you want. But sadly, sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes parents are paying everything and you're not aware of it. And it's different when you're adult and you're paying your stuff, you have your responsibilities, then you know that if you fail a subject, then you're paying more and all that stuff. And of course, there are some really good students that they know what they want, and that's a reality, you know. So you have to also put all those elements in a balance and to think about them when planning a lesson so you don't get frustrated, okay? Because one of the things that we want, like at the beginning, we want to be super teachers and we want to save everybody, you know. But there are some cases that they don't want to be safe, you know. They just want to be wasted, and we cannot do something about it, you know. So you have to be aware of that, sadly. All right, check this out. Check this out. Now we're gonna ask, let's see, somebody that we haven't heard before. Okay, Gabriela. Gabriela, would you mind helping me with the reading, please? Gabriela, hello, are you there?
Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Characteristics of young adults. Adults are self-directed in their learning. Adults are practical problem-solving oriented learners. Adults want their learning to be um, immediately
Applicable.
applicable to, okay, to their lives. Adults want to know why something needs to be learned.
Thank you very much, Gabriela. Thanks for the effort. Now, here we have this characteristic, right? It says adults are self-directed in their learning. Adults are practical, problem-solving oriented learners. Adults want their learning to be immediately applicable to their lives, okay? Adults want to know why something needs to be learned, all right? So these aspects are extremely important. This is your Bible, okay? When teaching in higher education, this is your Bible. Remember that you cannot go, okay, to a classroom of adults and have those activities that are just wasting time activities, okay? Because you can have many activities, but not all of them have an objective. Every activity that you put on a lesson plan should have a purpose. If your activity does not have a purpose, then it's a waste of time, okay? Please put that in your beautiful minds. If your activity does not have a purpose, right, then it's a waste time activity. Yes? For example, if I just say, okay, guys, move your head, okay, and then imagine yourself moving your head. Okay, move your finger, and you start moving your finger, right? Okay, move your chin, you move your chin. You know, if I go with an activity like that, I need to have an objective, right? I need to have a purpose. Probably I am teaching the body parts. Probably I am teaching beginners, because if I plan an activity for higher education and they are in a higher level, you know, they're gonna laugh about me, you know. They're gonna be like, what is this teacher doing, you know? So we have to adequate those activities according to the level, age, and according to their needs. Because there's something very, very realistic. Adults, they want to how can I say? They want to know why are they learning something, okay? For example, I have seen many adults that they complain about grammar rules, you know, especially in English academies. In English academies, like if an adult goes and they see the teacher, okay, this is the verb be, okay, I am, you are. You know, clients in academies, they get frustrated because of that teaching style. Why? Because they want to know how is that applicable to their life. Now if you teach them to say, or if you teach them to express themselves, to introduce themselves, well, they're using the verb be, and you don't necessarily have to go all the way to the basic rules. You know, now it's different in higher education, since you're teaching students to become teachers. You know, it's different here because they have to know. But first, it would be good that if you start your class by teaching them something meaningful, okay? And also write this down. Meaningful, that is a key word, meaningful. Your activities should be meaningful. Adults want to know, why do they need that? Huh? What am I learning this? What are you guys learning about teaching adults? Because you're teaching adults in a couple more weeks, right? So it's necessary to know about this, right? So I have a purpose, right? And that's the thing. All right. Now, I want you to, well, is there any question before going to another activity? Is there any question? Is there any question, somebody?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. All right. If you have any question, just let me know at any time. All right. Now, we're having, guys, a discussion in groups again. So you can take a break from me and I can take a break from you as well. Okay. So in this time, we're going to discuss this. Why? This is the question. Why is it necessary? Why is it necessary to know the characteristic? Why is it necessary to know the characteristics of young adults or adults, okay? Why is it necessary to know the characteristics of young adults or adults, okay? You're gonna be discussing that question. So in a moment, I'm going to create the groups, join the groups and talk. I'm gonna give 5 minutes for discussing. Please do it in English, okay? Even if it is difficult for you, try to explain in English. So avoid the use of Spanish. And if you don't have a microphone, please let the other person know, okay? So just give me a second and I'll let you know. 5, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's see. Okay, 4. Okay, just give me a second. I'm working on, on making the groups. It won't take longer. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Yvonne, ¿no te sirve no te sirve el micrófono? Escribe en el chat si gustas.
You share the question, please? Could you type the question in the chat?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, my opinion is, just as we know, the characteristics of adults is
that we going to discuss.
Is there any question? You call for help.
Yeah,
What is it?
I call you.
Okay.
We want to know what is the question that we have to discuss.
Well, I already sent it through a message, and I mentioned it like while I was creating the groups. It is like, why is it important to know about the characteristics of young adults and adults in the learning process?
Okay, thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Cool. Have a nice talk.
Okay.
You can see or find out the ways in which you could work better. You know what I mean?
yes.
So basically that, I think that's the reason why it's important. But I don't know if you think different than me.
Some people learn easier than others. So that's my opinion.
Good afternoon, guys. For me, it's necessary to know the characteristic because when you know what are the needs for the students, you can apply more strategies to help them. So for me, it's so necessary and important.
Okay, that's good, Karina. Guys. What about you?
They had a learning experience and they connect this information according to learning. I don't know if you agree with me.
Do you guys agree with Tsunabi? And then Nielsen.
Hey, Rafa. Hey, teacher.
Hey, hello. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but yeah, I agree. Very interesting. Great.
Yes, I think.
Too.
And talking about your specific questions, I think it's necessary to know the main characteristic between both groups because you need to know your group of class because they have different preference, and it's necessary to identify because is when you make a lesson plan, you need to use different strategy, technique, and methodology, and it's important to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I mean, thinking about your students' likes, it's essential. You know, if you don't do it, if you're just there just to make you look good as a teacher, then you're wrong because the reason of being a teacher is actually your students, not you. You know, if you're a teacher, people already know that you speak English, but the thing is that you have to make your students talk. You know, that's your main goal. You know, so yeah, absolutely. It was nice talking to you guys. I have to move to another group. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, is everything okay here?
Yes.
we talk about the why is necessary know about the characteristic of teaching of young adults.
Yeah, so
Yes.
somebody called me from this group. I don't know if you need any support or something.
Oh, I was.
Oh,
It was just, yeah.
was just a mistake or what?
A mistake, a mistake.
Ah, okay. All right. I have to visit the other groups, okay, because I'm monitoring.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Nice talking to you.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Time's up and everybody's back. That's good. Okay. I hope you have enjoyed the talks. I hope you have learned from your peers. Yes, Vanessa, do you have any question? Vanessa Maldonado, do you have any question? Your hands up. No?
Sorry, it was a mistake.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Anyways, so we're discussing the characteristic and why are they important, and it was great to hear some opinions. Many of you are thinking about your students' likes, your students' needs, and that's extremely important when you are a teacher. Okay, you have to take all those aspects into consideration, especially right now. Remember that in this modality, we need flexibility. We cannot be very strict with students right now because we are through a difficult situation right now. We are in a pandemic, so right now everybody is nervous, everybody like got problems, and we have to understand that. So we need to be patient and we need to coexist, like to help each other. So great work with the discussion. We're gonna move, and we have these three aspects here. It says characteristic of young learners. Well, young adults. Adults are more able to handle abstract rules and concepts. We were discussing this before. So they are able to handle, right? So if you are teaching adults, right, especially of the career, well, you can take advantage of that, and now you can teach those beautiful grammar rules that you love. Honestly, teaching in a grammatical well is not, it's not my style. However, for the people that like to do that, it's great. A lot of students learn that way. Then we have this part. Adults have longer attention spans for material that may not be intrinsically interesting for them. So for like if you're expecting adults to be there like for a long time, it's gonna be a bit difficult. It's gonna be a bit difficult. Sometimes they are there, but they're not there. You know, like like in the video conference, for example. Um, Probably you're used to be there listening to somebody talking in the other side, and probably you're doing something else, chatting on WhatsApp, checking Facebook, Instagram, all those things that you do, or maybe cooking or drinking coffee, having dinner, whatever. So it's difficult to have the attention, especially in this way. So I highly recommend you to take this into consideration when you are in your practice, because you're probably gonna be like me, like this, in a virtual thing, you know. Okay, then we have adults with their more developed abstract thinking ability are very able to understand a context reduced segment of language. For example, if you're going to explain something that requires a very, very high thinking ability, with adults, you can do it. You can do that with adults. Now, children, on the other hand, they won't pay attention to whatever you're teaching them. Like if you're teaching them okay, we usually write A before, you know, if you start doing that with kids, they won't pay attention to you. So it could work with adults, but not with kids, you know, not with them. With them, you have to be more creative. But adults, they are capable to do that. Or even if you ask them to solve any exercise in which requires a higher thinking ability, they're gonna do it. Or at least they're gonna try, or they're gonna ask you how to do it. All right. Then we have, can adults be disruptive? Well, for this part, I'm gonna ask somebody to read. So Abigail Flores, would you mind helping me out?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Can adults be disruptive? Adults can be disruptive and exhausting too. They might do it not in the same way as young learners, but teachers of this age group will have experience of students who spend the lesson talking to their neighbors when the teacher is trying to focus their attention, or who disagree vocally with much of what the teacher is saying. They arrive in class late and fail to do any homework. The good thing, as Komaruska 2000 writes, current communication plays an important role while teaching adults.
Thank you very much. So adults can be disruptive and exhausting too. They may do it not in the same way as younger learners, but teachers of this age group will have experiences of students who spend the lesson talking to their neighbors when the teacher is trying to focus their attentions, or who disagree vocally with much of what the teacher is saying. They arrive in class late and fail to do any homework. So this, I mean, this is a problem, you know, this is something that also has to do with, it has to do with communication, okay? When you're working with adults, especially in a university level, you need to understand some things. Well, the first thing that you have to understand is that they already know what they're doing in the university, supposedly, and most of the time they already know what they're doing. You have to understand that most of them have a job or a part-time job. Some of them got problems, you know, in their houses. Some of them are taking the bus. Some of them are from, you know, difficult places, you know, like for them it's a bit difficult to get a bus, or probably they have transportation problems. So all these aspects have to do with communication. So when you're working in the university, you have to understand these aspects, especially in El Salvador. You know our reality, okay? So since you know our reality, you're gonna be very comprehensive with your students, okay? It doesn't mean that you're not having a set of agreements in your classrooms, but you have to understand, right? You have to understand that there are some situations, that can happen, and then the way in which you communicate with your students would be extremely important in order to help them and in order to take them to your class objective or semester objective, So having a really good communication, it's essential, okay? Remember this, having a communication is essential. So make sure you create, a good channel of communication with your students, okay?